In the magical world of hidden truths and mysterious powers, one concept always manages to spark our thought. These are the eternal Akashic records, named from the Sanskrit word Akasha, meaning ether, sky, or atmosphere. These records represent the infinite invisible archive of all our thoughts, actions, and emotions that have existed in the universe. Imagine that everything that has ever happened, from the first invented word to the last glimpse of a star, is recorded in an eternal, indelible library. Every human life, every thought, every emotion, every act, everything is sealed in this cosmic register. These are the Akashic records, the mysterious repository of all the history and knowledge of the universe. The concept of them comes from this age-old teaching of mystic and philosophers, but has recently attracted the attention of modern researchers and scientists. Although the evidence for their existence is still a matter of scientific dispute, the possibility of such a universal archive is an attractive idea that continues to trouble the minds and hearts of people on all sides. From the 19th century, when Theosophy was born, through more modern mystics such as Edgar Cayce, to today's researchers and practitioners, the Akashic records continue to pique our interest. This idea shows that higher plane of being, a living being connected to the very fabric of the universe. The records are constantly being updated with each new thought, word, or action that souls and beings make. The Akashic records therefore contain the energetic imprints concerning the origin and journey of each soul throughout its lifetimes. They connect us all to each other. Our story begins centuries back in time, returning to the roots of an ancient art created by ancient civilizations and carried down through the ages by wise masters and great scholars. Akasha is much more than a mere word. It is a symbol of something great, something that transcends the ordinary understanding of space and time. This concept was introduced into the language of Theosophy by Helena Blavatsky, who characterized it as one of the forces of life, encompassing both the past and the future of human thought and action. Theosophical thought was further developed by Alfred Percy Sennett. The Akashic records continued to be studied and interpreted by scholars such as Alice A. Bailey and Rudolf Steiner. Each of these scholars has added their own unique contribution to the understanding of the Akashic records. But history is not everything. In order to go deeper into the meaning of the records, we need to get to know a little more detail the personalities who dealt with them and contributed to their understanding. Helen Blavatsky, a prominent Russian philosopher and occultist, introduced the Sanskrit term Akasha into the language of Theosophy. She described it as a type of life force and referred to indestructible tablets of astral light. The record, the past, and future of human thought and action, laying the foundation for what later became known as the Akashic records. Alfred Percy Sennett, an English writer and theosophist, further propagated the idea of the Akashic records in his 1883 book, Esoteric Buddhism, where he quoted Henry Steele Olcott's 1881 Buddhist Catechism. Olcott wrote that the Buddha taught that two things are eternal, namely Akasha and Nirvana. Everything comes from Akasha in accordance with the law of motion inherent in it and disappears. Nothing ever appears out of nothing. Charles Webster Leadbetter, a member of the Theosophical Society and prominent clairvoyant, associated the term Akashic records with the idea of a spiritual, cosmic record. He claimed that these records could be read by a clairvoyant. Later in his 1913 book, Man, Where, How, and Whither, he claimed to have recorded the history of Atlantis and other civilizations, as well as future society on Earth in the 28th century, using the Akashic records as a source. Alice Ann Bailey, author of more than 24 books on theosophical subjects, wrote in her 1927 book, Light of the Soul on Patanjali's Yoga Sutras, Book 3, that the Akashic records are like a huge photographic film recording all the desires and earthly experiences of our planet. According to her, only a trained occultist can distinguish between the real records and those astral pictures created by imagination and strong desire. Rudolf Steiner, the Austrian founder of anthroposophy, made extensive use of the concept of the Akashic records in a series of articles in his journal, Lucifer Geonosis, from 1904 to 1908. In these articles, he wrote about Atlantis, Lemuria, using the Akashic records as a source of detail, the history and civilization of these legendary places. He also used the term in the title of his lectures on the Fifth Gospel given in 1913 and 1914. Undoubtedly, however, one of the greatest readers of the Akashic records is Edgar Cayce. While in a trance state, he could answer questions on a wide range of topics, from healing and rebirth to dreams, the afterlife, and lost civilizations. His readings are painstakingly recorded by his secretary, Gladys Davis Turner. They span over 14,000 sessions and touch on topics that are both deeply personal and very universal. In recent years, attempts have been made to understand and explain the Akashic records in scientific terms. A white paper entitled The Akashic Records, a simple explanation for the scientific mind, published by Napa Valley Akashic, aims to explain how the records function from perspective of quantum physics and cites research by leading physicists, mathematicians, philosophers, psychologists, scientists, and Nobel laureates. It is important to note, however, that while these individuals have contributed significantly to the popularity and understanding of the Akashic records, there is currently no widespread acceptance of the subject. The Akashic records and the modern world. In the modern world, the Akashic records are perceived and interpreted in multiple ways that bridge both the spiritual and scientific realms. They are not limited to the realm of theosophy and anthroposophy. These records are now seen as an energy field that contains all the information about a person's thoughts, emotions, and experiences. This field can be accessed by people through specific techniques and is now often used for personal development and spiritual growth. Scientifically, there have been attempts to explain the Akashic records using principles from quantum physics. The white paper, for example, represents an innovative approach to introducing and explaining the Akashic records through the lens of science, with the concept being related to the principles of quantum physics. Although the exact nature and mechanics of the Akashic records still elude concrete scientific understanding, some have proposed that they be viewed as an extended dimension of consciousness. This expanded consciousness is believed to hold a vibrational record of everything that has ever happened. According to this view, the Akashic records are consistent with the principles of quantum physics, which have completely changed our understanding of the universe and its workings. The evolution of the perception of the Akashic records is monumental. From their mysterious history and philosophical origins, they are now incorporated into many modern practices and therapies. People all over the world are developing their spirituality and self-awareness by trying to access these universal records. But how exactly does this happen? One of the most common practices is known as reading the Akashic records. This involves a session where a person, often with the help of a trained counselor, attempts to access their personal library of records. Through meditation, a connection is sought with this invisible archive of the soul's history. This practice is of interest to those seeking personal insight, as well as those seeking therapeutic goals. The recordings are believed to help people better understand their relationships, past lives, spiritual lessons, and karmic connections. These views, although subject to unprovable by scientific means, have become an integral part of many people's lives. In addition to individual sessions, Akashic records are used in group therapies and workshops. Here, participants are taught how to access the universal library, how to interpret the information received, and how to use it for personal insight and growth. This process is believed to help people develop greater self-awareness and intuition, as well as facilitate their spiritual awakening. Vision for the future. As we are on the cusp of an age filled with scientific discovery and spiritual curiosity, it is interesting to consider what may happen in the future to our understanding of the Akashic records. Although they have been part of a human consciousness for centuries, emerging perspectives and technologies promises new possibilities for exploration and understanding. The merging of spirituality and science may seem quite improbable, but some believe that this is where the future is headed. It is the roots of the records which lie in spiritual beliefs that are one area where such a fusion could potentially occur. Already there is a tremendous effort to explain the eccentric concept with scientific theories, especially in the field of quantum physics. Imagine a future where people can access the Akashic records to gain deeper self-awareness, learn from past experiences, and guide future actions. Imagine a world in which therapists and healers use these records to aid in healing and personal growth. A society that recognizes the interconnectedness of all beings based on the principle that every thought, word, and action is recorded in the universal fabric of the Akashic field. While it remains to be seen whether these visions will materialize, it is clear that the Akashic records will continue to captivate the human imagination. They are a testament to our eternal quest for knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. The future of the records may not be clear, but their enduring fascination suggests that the journey is far from over. Going forward from these records offer us a timeless reminder that we are all part of a grand cosmic narrative, interconnected in ways we are only beginning to understand. And in the understanding, perhaps we will find a way to navigate our shared future with wisdom, compassion, and a deeper sense of our place in the universe. If you like what we do, subscribe to the channel, share the video, and leave your comment below.